Okay.
And go. Okay. All right. So if everybody, hi, welcome. If everyone could please mute. And I think I'm just looking down the list. We are up to 23 people, which is great. So welcome to our first virtual farm tour and harvest supper. My name is Portia Belloc Lowndes, and I'm the current president of Les Dames Sarah Stegner here in Chicago. We have 59 people today. They're not all on yet, but once they are, you'll see 20 dames. There's 20 of us, the members from Chicago, and then 39 other people. I will, Mary Kay Gill is going to talk a little bit about Les Dames so you know who we are. I've known Sarah, as you just heard me say, and Jeannie for 20 years. I was not a founding member, but I've been with the market since 20 some years. And so I've known them both, and this is a really near and dear project. In my heart, I've worked with the kids groups and things like that. So I'm really, really excited about today. The day Sarah's gonna be cooking. We're gonna go to Jeanne Nolan's farm, Middle Fork Farm, and we're gonna be going back and forth. If you guys have any questions, just jump on, ask questions. I'll try to get to them. If we don't get to them right away, because everyone's talking, we'll have a Q&A at the end. So please just write your questions, and we can try to answer them as we see fit to do it. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary Kay Gill, who is the chairperson of our Green Table. Mary Kay, I'm going to turn it over to you, all right?
Great, thank you. I wanted to provide a little bit more context to this afternoon's program. All four of the presenters are part of a philanthropic group of ladies called Les Dames Sarah Stegner. This all-female organization of professionals in the food, wine, and hospitality industries was started by Carol Breck in 1973 as a response to an exclusive all-male culinary society. Carol wanted more than to dine together, but instead envisioned an organization that would show what women can do. She raised the Pyrex ceiling, so to speak. This organization has grown to 44 chapters in the US, Canada, Mexico, and Europe, comprised by 2,450 members. There are 3 programs that energize our international organization. Global culinary initiatives embrace diversity. Legacy Awards target mentorship opportunities, and Green Tables promotes agriculture and civic connectivity. The Chicago chapter, founded in 1982 by Elaine Sherman, was one of the 5 inaugural chapters. Chef Abby Mendel was a charter member and later founded Green City Market, a year-round farmers market, and most importantly, one that continues to support local farmers and sustainable agricultural practices. The friendships from like-minded female chefs like Portia and Sarah and their connection to GCM was foundational to the early membership of the Les Dames Chicago chapter. In 2020, our Green Table support includes online seasonal recipes on the GCM website and this afternoon's virtual event. The designated beneficiary is the GCM's Edible Garden Project. Due to COVID-19, there will be no educational programming at the Edible Garden this season. However, Dame Jeanne Nolan is converting the educational space into a garden planted for food production. 100% of the produce will feed Chicagoans experiencing food insecurity. So on behalf of the Green Tables Committee,
Lost it. You have power.
All right. Do I just lose you, Mary Kay?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Wait, little technical difficulty.
I think you unmuted me. I was just to my thank you for supporting this afternoon's program. And I would encourage you to continue to support your local farmer and female-owned businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so I'm gonna cut over right now. And again, I'm gonna mute you if you're not muted. Over to Sarah. So Sarah, if you'd like to start, that would be great. Whoops, hang on 1 second. Sarah, I think you're muted. 1 second. Here we go. All right.
I'm not Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So I'm Sarah Stegner from Prairie Grass Café, and I'm very happy that you're all here. I understand there are people calling the restaurant they can't get on, and we're going to work on trying to get them on a Zoom call. Okay, so what I'm doing today is Wild Alaskan Cod. The people that bought the package, you got 2 5-ounce portions. We're gonna bread them with oat flour, egg, and oatmeal. Excuse me. We're gonna bread them, and then we're gonna make a pesto salad that's warm. We're gonna saute kale and leeks, and the beautiful kale is a mix of what's from Jeanne's garden, and the lacinato kale is from Jeanne's garden, and the red kale, most of it is from Three Sisters garden. And then we're gonna put it with corn and tomatoes in a pesto salad. So that's the dish. From there, excuse me. Okay, from there we're going to cut to Jeanne and let her talk about the garden. But I want to get started with the fish. So the first thing we're going to do is bread the fish. So flour, the oat flour is from Three Sisters garden. And then the eggs, you just mix them up. And then the bread that we made from oat bread, and it's from Anne from Sauce and Bread. So she did a beautiful job with that. Okay, and I'm gonna season the fish. You wanna season both sides. All right, and then you're gonna coat it in the flour, give it a nice toss in there, and put it in the egg. And from there, into the breading. You want to make sure it gets completely coated. All right. So there you go. You got a nice, you got a nice cover on there. I'm going to take my gloves off, and here we go. We'll get it in. One of the things I want you to know is like, instead of thinking of this as this is what you have to do to follow a recipe, this is about cooking and being instinctual in the kitchen. So once you've got your fish breaded, you're gonna cook it. I'm not here, you're gonna be doing your own. If the temperature gets out of control, turn it down, move it off, and control that it's not gonna get too brown. You just want it a nice golden brown, and it should be almost completely done cooking by the time you're finished. All right, so you're just gonna control that. And I'm gonna cut to Jeanne now, and she can talk about where she got her gorgeous leeks from that you're gonna use. And it's all yours, Jeanne.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Sarah. Jeanne, it's up.
Hello, am I here? Yeah. Hello, ladies. I'm really pleased to be here with you today. This is Middle Fork Farm, which is our home, but also the demonstration farm for our business that's called The Organic Gardener. And probably some of you don't know, we employ about 30 people. We operate about 200 food gardens in Chicago and a little bit in Michigan and Wisconsin. And the business has been going 15 years. And the other part is that our flagship project, in addition to the farm here, is the edible gardens in Lincoln Park Zoo that we do with Green City Market. And it's the first garden that I created in Chicago in 2005. So lots of gardens, lots of growing food, and a big part of the Seed to Table movement. So welcome here today. I want to show you the foods that are in your meal today. So let's head over here. This is our herb garden, and I really like to plant a garden that is 3 things: organic, productive, and beautiful. So we incorporate a lot of edible flowers and pollinator-friendly flowers as well. In the meal today, we're using some chives, and this is just a whole lot of different herbs here. A couple of my favorites these days are the lemon verbena and the stevia and the mint. which I love to make a drink with. Okay, so then we want to show you the basil. We have lots of different types. We have traditional basil, lemon basil, purple basil, but in the meal today, we've got the traditional basil. Behind you, some tomatoes. This is a pink bumblebee that we love. Little tomato. And the sun gold tomato here is the sweetest tomato that we can grow in the Chicago area. And my personal favorite is called Jeanne Nolan. I love this tomato. It's low acid and really yummy. Okay, let's take you over here. Let's go see the leeks. So here is our patch of leeks. And these were planted on April 24th. They were plants that were grown in our greenhouse at our company. So they were planted in February indoors and then planted here. And leeks get planted in a very specific manner because the goal is to have as much underground, the white part of the leek. You use a special tool when you plant leeks, and you put the little plant, you put about 6 to 8 inches underground. So those are the leeks. Now we can go look at the kale. So the kale that we contributed is from this patch here. And we also have lots of different kinds of kale. It comes in so many colors. This is a nice purple curly kale, the Tuscan kale, and several other types. Trying to think what else was in the meal that we wanted to talk about. That might have been it. But I can tell you a little more about our garden. Around the edge is a border of flowers. And when I first learned to farm in California in like the late 80s, we always grew around the edge of our farm something we called the Border Patrol. And it was a mix of flowers that really contribute to the health and harmony within the garden, attracting beneficial insects, detracting insects we don't want in the garden, edible flowers, pollinator friendly. So we always do that around the edge, plus it supplies more cut flowers than we could ever use. And we do a lot of succession planting in the garden. So this entire trellis was loaded with sugar snap peas. They were harvested, removed, and now we've got our next round of sugar snap peas that are just itty bitty coming up. Let's see, I can show you something else over here. One of the things that I really love to do is to combine edible and ornamental plants. So this is a really good example here. We've got our Swiss golden chard. I love the chard with the yellow stems, with the edible nasturtium, and the dwarf sunflowers. So those are fun. And we can show you our eggplant. We got some beautiful eggplant this year. It's a traditional globe eggplant. This is a neon eggplant that we love. And then this is this little cutie called a fairy tale eggplant. And my new favorite eggplant is this one. Green eggplant, and it's really delicious. It's very mild. It's a nice flavor. We grow a lot of peppers.
Now I'm at the garden.
My husband doesn't tolerate any hot peppers, so we only grow a few. So this is mostly sweet peppers. And my very favorite sweet pepper is this one here. I don't harvest them until they're red, all red. You know, people who love green peppers, you could harvest now. But this is called Carmen, and it's a very sweet pepper in this nice, more traditional shape. But we grow the little lunchbox peppers. Here they are, the lunchbox peppers that have become so popular in red, yellow, and orange. And bell peppers. We have 2 daughters, and they love peppers, and we eat a lot of peppers. And we had intended to have an event for Les Dames d'Escoffier this year with Portia and Sarah here, where we would have been cooking all of this food for you. So we've been light on our feet with COVID, and here we are. So we could continue walking around, or the other thing that I could talk about a little bit is what our company has been doing.
We're trying to kill time right now.
Pandemic. Am I still on? And I know restaurants and so many businesses have had to be light on their feet, as the organic gardener. We are very lucky that we're considered an essential business, so we've been able to operate our company the whole season. We saw a lot of drop-off with our corporate clients. We have a garden and Old Orchard shopping mall. We operate more than 20 school gardens, so those have been amended this year. But thankfully, there's been a huge increase, surge of interest among homeowners wanting to grow their own food. So we've built 45 new gardens this year. Some of them small raised beds, and some of them really beautiful, very designed raised beds and fencing with unique artistry and craftsmanship to it. But definitely all over the country, all over the world, a surge in people wanting to grow their own food. So that's what I think of as a silver lining with the pandemic, and I hope all of you are finding some silver linings. So let's see, what I can show you another part of the garden.
There was a question. Could you tell everybody the name of your favorite tomato again?
Okay, yeah. Well, I have a lot of tomatoes I love, but this one is called Jeanne, Jaune, Flamme. It has a name that isn't French. It's a saladette. No, you can find it under Jeanne Flamme. And this is its ripe color, a little more orange. The flavor is similar to the little sun gold, sweet, mild, low acid. I just love it. And we grow all the different, I think I've got 15 tomatoes, so that's fun. Lots of different ones. So are we still walking through? Because we can tour a little more if we want to.
Sure.
Yeah, tour a little bit more. I think
Sure.
Sarah's cooking some things.
Great. We grow a good amount of mint, but we only grow mint in pots. So we've got, thyme, parsley, rosemary, lemongrass, but mint takes over your garden like a weed. So you only want to grow that in pots. Let's look at this fennel. This is beautiful. Oh, yeah. Some gorgeous fall fennel this year, and it is ready. So you can see how pretty that is. So that'll be fun to use.
Jeannie, do you sell your things? Do you have a market stand sometimes?
We do not. We don't sell any food. So of the many gardens that our team operates, whenever we have leftover food, including from here, we donate it to food pantries. And many of our clients, where we're there once a week or every other week, teaching them how to care for their garden and helping them care for their gardens, will say, oh, I'm out of town for 2 weeks in August. Please just harvest and donate to the food pantry. So homeowners who, have our help maintaining gardens, part of that is taking overflow to donate, at which this year more than ever is important with so many people experiencing food insecurity. So you come on into the other part of the garden. This is where we have more of our perennials. So we have a bed of strawberries, which are finished. 2 beds of raspberries. We have red, black, and gold. A beautiful asparagus bed. It's now past the time when you harvest it. So this is the asparagus. And these ferns are here all season through the winter, feeding the plants. And then we cut them back into spring. The asparagus is one of the first crops that we harvest and have the pleasure of eating. My favorite is raw. I like to just break off a spear and eat it. If you can eat it within the first hour, it's great raw. Otherwise, just cook it. This is our orchard. We have 12 fruit trees, and we got some cherries this year, and we have fun doing this as well.
And where are your chickens?
The chickens are in another area, but we can see some of the other animals. Come on back here.
There you go.
They changed point.
Yeah.
Who is gone? They're all in the barn. Ellen can show you the crew. So we have 2 alpacas, 2 goats, and 3 dogs, and they're huddled by the fans on the cool concrete floor right now, since it's a hot day.
You can see this
That's
little goat.
Chocolate. The goat is named Chocolate, and the other goat is named Olive.
There's an alpaca out in the field.
Oh yeah, one of the alpacas is in the field, munching away. They love the native ground cover here. And our property is bordered by the Middle Fork branch of the North branch of the Chicago River. We are in Northbrook, about 5 minutes from Sarah's restaurant, Prairie Grass. And the river comes around our property, and at times it floods. So about 4 times a year, this whole field.
I need to interrupt because Sarah is ready
Perfect.
to cook.
See you in a little bit.
See you in a
Thank
bit.
you.
Are you okay? You guys can hear me?
Oh,
So,
I'm
that
hearing,
was
I can't
love-
see it, but I can hear it. There, I got it.
That was lovely. I thought Jeannie did a beautiful job, and you can really see where the food is coming from. Okay, so we got to get started here. Now, those that missed the first part, I floured, egged, and breaded the cod with oat bread, and it has a beautiful golden brown crust on it. Maybe you can see this here, right there. You can see the beautiful crust. And then we're gonna saute. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put the kale in. It takes the longest to cook, and you want a pretty hot pan on it. Here we go. We're gonna put the kale in. And this kale came from Three Sisters Garden and Jeannie. She brought it over. She's like less than a half mile from my house. So it's like, or the rest. And as that wilts, I'm gonna add the leeks. And the leeks came from Jeannie's garden. Let me hit the fan so you can hear me better. The leeks came from Jeannie's garden. So they're very tender. They were harvested yesterday in the morning or late Friday afternoon. And that I'm just kind of let it cook here. And I have the heat on high, and my fish is done. It's sitting in the pan here, crispy like from the clarified butter, giving it a lot of flavor in there. And then I'm gonna add the tomatoes. Now the tomatoes are from Froggy Meadow, and he sells at Green City Market, and then from Adams Acres. And he has a local farm that is up in Grays Lake. The tomatoes are still a bit early, so Jeannie's tomatoes weren't quite there yet, but it helps, it makes the dish, the acidity balances out. Now I wanna tell you about the delicious pesto. You can see that we made this for the people that got the packages. It's made with pecans and basil and mint and a little bit of chives and Pleasant Ridge Reserve. So I think pesto is a great sauce that you can play around with and really incorporate herbs that come in from the season. So I'm gonna let this cook just a bit more, toss it a bit. I like with the recipes, like one of the things that I did, you saw the recipe, there's no corn in the recipe, and I'm adding corn. Corn is at peak season right now. It's beautiful. And this is from Three Sisters Garden. And this is what I mean by when you talk about recipes, that they should be an outline, like suggestions of what to do, and really think about recipes that way, because it should empower you to take control in your kitchen and cook. So here we go, we're gonna add the corn. And then that should be enough for 2 people. Now, depending on when the corn is in the season, sometimes you hardly need to cook it. just, it depends on, now peak season, you're gonna need a little bit of time in the pan. And the same thing with the tomatoes, you know, beginning of the season, the skins can be very, very tender. All right, so now the whole thing is cooked and ready, and I'm gonna fold in the pesto. And this is more than 3 ounces. So it kind of depends on how rich you want your salad to be, your wilted salad here. So I'm incorporating it. All right, that looks beautiful. And I gave everybody a little bit of grated, it's kind of clumping here, so I'm gonna tear it up, of the Pleasant Ridge Reserve. It's upland cheese. I believe Gingrich is the name that makes it. It's such an incredibly beautiful cheese. Shout out to Sophia Solomon from Tekla who sold me the cheese. I love it. All right, so I'm ready to go there, and I'm gonna do a quick assembly for you. Let me give myself a little bit of room here. All right, so in the pan, now this is enough for 2 people, so I'm not gonna use all of it. I'm gonna set it up as an individual portion. You could do it on a platter, but I think that's a good sized portion for somebody to eat. And then on this one, I'm just going to damp the bottom of just get a little bit of that butter off of there and put it right on top. And then I have, you know, the nasturtiums that she gave us from her garden are gorgeous. So I gave you 2 so you could garnish with each, and a little fennel frond just to put across. And you know, Jeannie, I don't know what this is. I put in some of the packages, there's purple mint, but in some of them there was this flower, and you're gonna have to tell me what that is.
That's anise hyssop.
Anise hyssop. Okay, so I'm gonna suggest that people just, you know, sprinkle the beautiful purple things over the top, purple little buds over the top. All right, so that is my fish dish. I hope you enjoy it. And, you know, we try to incorporate. There you go.
Oh, that looks good.
That looks excellent, Sarah.
All right, maybe I should put it with the flour first, right?
That looks delicious.
All right, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Can just before I go, I wanted to say Rohit picked out this wine some people got, and he really felt that this was a beautiful match with the wild Alaskan cod. Anyway, we sell raw fish on Mondays that you can come and purchase from Prairie Grass, and we always have the cod available for people. So if you're feeling inclined to make this again, you're more than welcome. All right, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I know that we had some problems with people signing on. And this is being recorded, so I can, after this is over, we'll send the link to everybody so they can kind of see what you might have missed in the beginning. And again, my apologies for the problem. I am going to go back over to Jeannie, though, to talk about the mezcal. If you're ready.
I am ready. Hello. So this is the mezcal that's being featured in today's cocktail, La Luna Mezcal from Michoacan in Mexico. And my dad, who just turned 80, tried to retire and didn't enjoy that. So he started this business and has been creating it along with a young man out in California. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit how mezcal is made for some of you who don't know. The agave plant, some of it growing wild and some of it cultivated in Mexico. When it reaches maturity, which is very infrequently, they cut off all the outer leaves and they harvest the heart of the agave, and it's like very, very big. Like they'll put 5 of them strapped on a donkey's back to come out of the field. So they're very big, these agave hearts. And then they are roasted in a big pit underground and ultimately become mezcal. And this product line, La Luna, has 6 different types of mezcal. So you really can taste and enjoy many different flavor profiles. And this is the most basic and you know, it's at Binny's, it's all around. But Sarah graciously makes my father very happy by often featuring cocktails made from the mezcal. And my dad is less pin soft. So anyways, that's that with the mezcal. And I can go into a little more talking about the garden, or we can go back to you, Portia, for the cocktail.
Why don't, if you'd like to, a little more of the garden would be great.
Sure. Okay, so where we've landed now, we're out of the garden that's bordered by flowers, and we're in our area that's the perennials, the perennial fruit, the orchard, and then we created these two patches because we like to grow some crops that really don't need to be in individual raised beds or rows. I think it's important to know when you're looking at my garden, I learned to grow food on a communal farm where there usually were 35 to 50 people. So I learned to grow food where you grew a lot of food. And even though I'm in the suburbs, I have a hard time growing minimally. So we do a lot of sharing. But this bed is where we grow pumpkins, watermelon. We've got some really beautiful, there's a baby watermelon, some great butternut squash growing, and a few types of pumpkins, edible pumpkins, and then also cucumbers. I really like to grow cucumbers on a cage. And then in this bed, we grow this year sweet corn and potatoes. So our first batch of sweet corn has come and gone. It was a bicolor sweet corn that matured at around 69 days from planting. Then we do a second corn patch, which we make sure is, matures at a very different time than the first patch. This is my favorite type of sweet corn. It's called Silver Queen. It's a white sweet corn. It is not ready yet, but it matures at 91 days. So that way they don't cross-pollinate. We get a delicious bicolor and a white corn. Then we can come around here. We've been harvesting potatoes. Here's our tools, but our kids dug all of these up. And then these are some more potatoes here that we haven't dug up. And we grow probably 6 different kinds of potatoes, red potatoes, purple potatoes, fingerlings, and we store them and eat them throughout the year. And then we have our blackberry here that is just ripening. Yeah, actually, we've got some nice fruit here. We actually do a blackberry harvest. I do wish you were all here to taste and enjoy this together with us. So sending you
Yum.
warm hello, but here's our blackberries. So this is a bed where we have a fig tree. We'll show you our fig tree. This is an in-ground fig tree, which can be challenging in Chicago. We cover it, we mulch it in the winter. The thing is, we always get figs. You can see them growing here, but some years they ripen and we can eat them, and if it's very hot and warm, but other years I'll get 2 figs in October. So it's fig frustration, but they're fun to grow, so we grow them. This is a fun one. This is called a raspberry. It looks very sad right now. Oh, but you can see the remnants of these little raspberries. They were very big and quite delicious. My husband found these. It's a unique fruit, but it does really well here.
It all looks amazing. I think someone did have a question about, do you know, how do you keep the birds off your berries?
Okay. I grow a lot of berries. So generally I grow enough berries that I can share a little bit. However, some of the families that we help grow food might have a small strawberry patch. And in that case, we use one of 2 products to create a physical barrier. We used to use a bird netting that we would sort of put on wire hoops over the patch, but that gets very tangly. This year we started using a fabric row cover that still lets in light and air. And that's been a very good way to keep the birds out. What you do, if you can't share because they're taking everything, then a physical barrier of some sort.
And then someone else asked, and I don't know if you have the answer to this. This might be a question for your father. Do you know how tequila is made? This came a little earlier when you were talking about the mezcal.
My father was on. It is a different process, and I don't know exactly what the difference is. So I'm not even going to try because I'll probably get it wrong. But the website, which is you can get to through La Luna or Puente International, has a lot of videos and information, and you can really get into the details. Sorry, I don't know that.
No, I didn't either. So, but thank you.
Yeah, and I did want to mention that anybody who's interested in growing a home garden, this is a great time of year to design and build the garden so that you're ready in April to start planting. So we build gardens all the way through November, even into early December. So if anyone's looking for a fun project, the website is theorganicgardener.net. But
And you also said
to work together.
Because getting the work ready now will really mean that you'll have your great early start next spring.
That's right, and it gives the soil the opportunity to sit, and which really gets the microbes and bacteria and the good soil health going. So we always prefer to build a garden in the fall if you're planning to grow next spring.
Well, this has all been just great. I love seeing the farm, and I'm sorry that we're not there. As you said, we would have had our dinner ready now for Les Dames Café, but
exactly.
This is the next best thing. So
yeah, next year we'll have a big long farm to table, table in the backyard, and we'll all enjoy each other's company.
It'll be nice. All right, so I will, hang on one second. I'm gonna mute you. Thank you, but we'll have a question and answer after if there's some
Good,
questions.
I'm happy to do that.
For people as well, and we'll go back to Sarah too if people have some questions. I will be sending out the link to this video for those who missed the beginning, so right when this ends. So, all right, I'm just going to mute you. All right, so I'm actually was put in charge of making a cocktail for everybody using the mezcal. So as she said, there's the La Luna mezcal, and I got this from Binny's, and they had a lot of different kinds. This one was $49, and they really do range, and they're excellent. I did make the cocktail last night, and so I'm doing a cucumber cocktail. And the one thing that I do love, and I have a very small garden. I wish I had one like yours, Jeannie, but I harvested 4 cucumbers. I was very excited. And so I've been making, and I do this in the summer with a lot of things. I make syrups. And so basically I fill a jar, with the cucumbers, ginger. I have some mint from my garden. And you can kind of put anything. You could put a jalapeno in here too if you wanted it to be a little spicier. And then I make a simple syrup of 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water, melt it down, and then I pour it in here. And then here's my large one. And then I get a really good syrup. And the nice thing about this I like is that you can do non-alcohol drinks, and I just put it with fizzy water, and it's really, really good. I'll strain out all the vegetables and then keep the syrup. If I don't use all the syrup, I put it in ice cube trays, and then you've got ice cubes that taste very, very good. One thing with the cucumber, here's one of my cucumbers. This is actually one of the 4 that I do, and when I make a cocktail is to try to do a garnish and using kind of a ribbon of the cucumber. And I got the ribbon. Hang on one second, it's right up there. 1 ribbon, and then I'll wrap it around on the inside of a glass just to make it look kind of pretty. And then for this cocktail, I did, you can either use the syrup or you can take the cucumber and puree it and kind of make like a little slush. And that's like a cucumber slush. Sorry, I'm doing the filming of this myself as I do this. And then I put in the mezcal, here in a sec, about 2 ounces of the mezcal into the cucumber. And I'm just doing it by sight. And then I'm gonna go grab the syrup. And I put in another kind of like 2 ounces there. And then I get my seltzer and put that in. Oh, this is actually looking good. It is very good. I tried it last night. And a little lime. And then I have some mint from my garden. And I actually have a little piece of lemongrass right there. So I kind of put that in. and then that's the cocktail, and it's very, very good. But I do encourage people to make their own syrups with, I mean, half the things that Jeannie was walking around in the farm, all those berries, cucumbers, everything. If you're not using it, you can make a really good syrup, and you don't have to buy those syrups. And and as I said, they'll stay in the refrigerator for a little while, but you can freeze them, and they're very, very good that way. So that's the cocktail. So I'm just going to see if anyone has any questions, and please write them if you do. This was kind of our first virtual farm tour, and I really want to thank Sarah Stegner and Rowett. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, so I apologize to the people who didn't get on, and I'm going to send the link. Oh, here we go. Hi, Sarah. She's
Hi.
on. So I want to thank Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Rowett. Thank you, Jeanne Nolan, and also Mary Kay Gill. I think this is a really great event. We're going to have more of these in the future. I hope that everybody will. There is a link, there should be, to donate to the Edible Garden and Green City Market. Mary Kay talked about it earlier. I'm just trying to just look at this. And also go to Green City, go to the market, go eat at Sarah's restaurant, and support Jeannie, and get a garden going, because who knows how long this is all going to happen. And having a garden is like one of the nicest things. Sarah, do you have anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I think there was one about the gluten in the, there is no gluten in the oat flour. That Tracy does that without, it doesn't have any cross-contamination, but the bread that I use for breadcrumbs in there does. So there's a little bit of panko mixed in there, and I think that Anne from Sauce and Bread uses some flour in that. Yeah, I really think that it can support restaurants, you know, just once a week, do a takeout from a restaurant in your neighborhood. I think that can make a big impact to helping the industry. And the farmers definitely go to the market. At Green City Market, you can call ahead and order and pick up if you don't want to go in the market. But all of that makes a big difference. Each one of you can really impact their lives.
Oops, all right, thank you. There was a question. Well, first, how do you store the sugar solution? I store it in the refrigerator for about a week. And as I said, after that, I'll drain it 1 to 2 weeks, and then I just put it in the freezer, because honestly, if anything's in the fridge that long, I tend to then freeze it if I don't think I'm going to use it right away. Sarah, I don't know if you have a second. Someone did ask about clarifying the butters. Someone said that they missed that part. So I don't know if you could talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, the clarified butter came in the package. You can take your butter and heat it up on the stove, and then you let it cook just a little bit until the fats separate out. And then let it settle, and we pass it through a strainer or a cheesecloth or something like that, and then the fat solids are separated out. And I have to say that, you know, since the pandemic, we have not been clarifying butter. We use a lot of oil, olive oil, and just melted butter. And this was the first time we clarified a big block of butter since the pandemic, and I really miss cooking with it. I miss the flavor that it adds. And I know we've been using melted butter to cook our meats online, but I just think it's worth the time to do that, and it stores for a long time. It stores really well, and you can infuse it with oil. You can infuse it with herbs and flavoring, so you can kind of add your own personal touch to it.
Okay, thanks. That was a very good answer, and I'm sure quite helpful. I have one more question for Jeannie. Who does the Edible Garden donate produce to?
Okay, so most of the produce is going to the Lakeview Food Pantry. Green City Market is like one of the top 5 donors to the food pantry, you know, in a typical year through the overflow food from the farmers. And as well, the Edible Gardens is located in Lincoln Park Zoo, in the farm in the zoo, basically across the street from Green City Market. So it's very easy to coordinate with the market, and it goes to the Lakeview Food Pantry. There are a few other food pantries that we will be donating some things to, but the bulk of it is there.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everybody, and thank everybody who joined us today. I think it was a really nice way to spend a Sunday afternoon together. We are going to have more of these events coming up, and so I hope you will look for them. And we have your email, so we'll send them to you. But we'll have other chefs and other farms and other types of things going through the year, because it seems like this is the way we're going to be spending our time together. So I will end this meeting, not meeting, but this our class this afternoon. And again, I want to thank everybody. So thank you and have a good day. And we'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.